much for joining us here on State of Play. Let me wear my spectacles because without it, I can't really see much. So, welcome to State of Play.
You can't answer questions without it.
No, I can't. I can't answer those questions. The questions. So now we have a total of 55
questions.
Bawumia is proving that he's really a doctor. Bawumia. So we're going to talk about that. That's fundamentally what we had pre-advertised. That John Mahama asked 5 questions, and we were expecting a reply from Bawumia, and then he fired back with 50. The man who they play, but that definitely has set the tone for very interesting. And I listened to John Mahama when the Bawumia fired back. It was quoted a very famous U.S. president who has said that the elections about economy is stupid. I don't know if you listened to that.
Yes.
And the 5 questions he asked all anchored on the economy. And then Bawumia also fired back with 50. But I thought that JM also played into and the way the MPP guys spend it, they played into the Bawumia's hands slightly because they've been asking him to come and debate. And then he asked the 5 questions, and the MPP says, well, if you come to the debate, we'll answer the questions. So,
so bring your 5 to the debate.
Yes, bring your 5 to the debate.
In the alternative, if you cannot provide, if you won't come to the debate, please answer 50 and I'll answer your 5 questions.
Yes.
Okay, well, but in all fairness, some of the questions, even in the Bawumia one, is also about the economy.
Yes.
For example, a question like, what was average agricultural growth under your government? 2.9% is what's in quotes, less than half of what's under our government. That question is about agricultural growth.
Yeah.
Agricultural growth is under the real sector.
Yeah.
Agricultural services and what they call it, industry in this case. So you can't divorce that and say that it's not agriculture. He also asked, why was overall GDP under your government lower than under our government? That is what he also asked. And again, yes, the question in and of itself will be GDP growth rate is a key indicator of economic growth. In fact, that's the point. So it's not so that it's about the economy cannot be divorced from some of the questions here. Of course, some of the other questions, I am not sure whether they are also directly referencing the economy. For example, why did you run advertisement against free SHS? I mean, currently...
why have you gone to Bawumia's questions?
Oh, no. I am trying to say, because you said it's about the economy.
Okay.
Almost to say that some of the things that Bawumia also asked were about the economy.
But Bawumia's questions are really good jobs.
Why did you run adverts against free SHS? But that's running on our radio and other stations, right?
Yes.
The advertisement on the whimsical promise of D&D.
Yes. But Bawumia and his team have also responded with their own counter commercial. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, yeah. That's the one that starts with Mahama saying you cannot do free SHS on the whimsical promise of a desperate politician.
Yeah.
And then they say, this is what they said against it, and that's what we are doing and all of that.
Okay.
To the extent, Evans, that this is a conversation about what you have done, what I have done, policy, direction, what you will do, what your track record is, I welcome it 100%. In fact, I would have been excited if the entire conversation is about question 150, question 160. There may be a platform is there for them to answer, even if they don't meet to answer it, right? I also get your point, and I had said it before. I am still unsure why there is no debate. I know that, for example, Acquah refused to debate in times past and other things. But, frankly, I've said it that left to me, it should not be left to the people seeking for the job to decide.
Yeah.
I actually think that should be going forward. You should find a way of making sure that if you put yourself up, and if you want to, in fact, it should be because if the job applicant is the one deciding whether to attend in the interview or not attend the interview, it's a bit problematic. And power should belong to the people who are recruiting, not the people who are actually filing for the job. So really, I think that's how we should get to. But if we come back to these questions, except that the Mahama questions were also directly about, I think one of the things that Bawumia always has a problem with is with the exchange rate. Because we're not truthful to ourselves from the beginning. We have always make it look like some Ghanaian expertise and competence is all runs exchange rate. It's not true. We all know that. We all know that if you don't get 3 billion or whichever amount of money coming in beginning of the year to support your city, and you then get cocoa syndicated loan 1.5 billion somewhere down the third quarter supporting your city, you will struggle against stronger currencies.
And that is where we are. But also complicating that is as we approach the elections, businesses who are uncertain are beginning to ditch the CD, take the dollar out,
or even transfer into their foreign account.
That is putting, is leaving, very small pool of dollars in the system. So that is an issue. And JM first question, you should come and answer. Why is the exchange rate 17 to the dollar?
But that's we all know the answer.
The answer is in
Bawumia's own words.
The fundamentals are weak.
Something will expose you. So and our fundamentals have been weak for a very long time, without doubt. Anyway,
so that's question one. And then question two: why has Ghana's debt risen from 120 billion to 767 billion in 8 years? You should come and answer. Well, if you were in the heart of an MPP, the first thing they'll say is, but we had a pandemic. And the pandemic, imposed to be a hardship that we had to find money to do, so you have to borrow more to fix it. So that's pandemic.
But do you net off the amount of money you got for the pandemic period too?
The pandemic support, but the pandemic support funds that we got, were they free?
Not all. I mean, yes, not all, but some of them. Were basically some of them. Yes, you rarely. And over the periods that we are looking at, it's also important.
I guess let me phrase this way: are there good answers to these questions? I mean, we just asked
you'd attempt. No, you'd attempt. But you risk busking yourself into a corner where it's not good for your politics. I hope you get my point. But again, I think Bawumia has, I heard him on a platform when he was proposing to go for oil and other things, try to talk about exchange rate. And he moved quickly into what we will do, which is continue with go for oil, do exchange and all of those other things. Then do made in Ghana too. Buy made in. So he's proposing ways forward. But Mahama is insistent on answering the question why we are where we are. I hope you get the point. Then he compares it to the nominal value of the dollar and the cedi against the dollar when he was in charge. So it's a question that's asking why are we here? But the answer is more future looking. That let's move forward, because while we are here, it appears obvious to many people
why we are here. But the point about this is also to expose his opponent.
True.
And he's deliberately asking these economic questions because Bawumia was pitched as an economic messiah.
True.
So these are the questions that Bawumia would have asked if he was in opposition. In fact, you can actually accuse the NDC of wasting time. Actually, it's coming too late in the day. They should have asked these questions earlier.
And I think they should have. One of the things that they should have actually really, and we sat here some time ago and said they are having a conversation that's about Acquah and not Bawumia. And I was worried about that because sometimes you may raise general issues about him. In fairness, they should have been dragging the man onto this seat right from the beginning. In fact, it is the seat he's supposed to be sitting on. And it's true, President Acquah told us that this man helped Kufuor. He's going to help us. That's why I chose him. More recently, he had repeated it somewhere. Why did you choose Bawumia? He repeated it. That see his economic powers and all of that. So, and when he came into office, even before he came to office, you know the things that he had locked up the dollar and giving key to IGP. I mean, all of those things created the impression that he is completely in charge and able to fix the problem when it crops up. So if you have 17 on our hands under your watch, and let's not get it wrong, when it got to 6, we were all shocked. But now it looks like we are very much.
I still remember when we were about to break the 8. It was a big deal.
It's almost like we're in a countdown, and we are afraid. We think our economy is going to turn completely. But we are roaming at 17 now, and it appears that we are weathering the storm. Not weathering the storm, but we are used to it. We don't think all companies have collapsed overnight. We are not crying, and I sometimes feel bad for those who are still paying school fees in the United Kingdom and the United States, for example, it's a lot of it.
The work in Ghana, NCD, and pay.
Come on. And the mortgage people, the dollar mortgage people. You see, when you started 2016 with the hope that it will get better from the 4 CD, then sharply moved to 17. I mean, it's a sensible project you thought you were undertaking.
And also, with your mortgage, you're doing 15 to 20 plus a year.
Yeah. So you don't know how your future is going to be like, but you know, you certainly pay.
Even if you started by paying $500 a month, 15 years ago, let's say 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you possibly add 3 to the dollar.
Yes.
Because Mahama, when Mahama was handing over, made around 2014. Yeah, it was around 4. Even there was, so at the time, your $500 was less than
1,500 cedis.
Yeah.
Yes, then convert it, or 2,000 cedis. Yeah. Now, 500 times 17. 8,500.
Wow.
I mean, see, it.
And there's no way your salary would have
grown
increased at the same pace.
So 2,000 to 8,500. That's about almost 5 times or 4 times the amount of money you needed at the time to service your own thing. And your responsibilities will grow. Your inflationary other pressures will come in. So as for economy, and I understand how the man will struggle to. Where we are, it is by the grace of God, we are still surviving.
The miracle is a miracle.
Yeah. It's by the grace of God, we are still surviving. So the vice president will struggle. There was some hinting that, it's not everything that they listen to him. I actually think people don't buy that. Because it becomes almost like, you select which ones you want to tell the people you have done well when it goes well. When it doesn't go well, you appear to think that it's not you who's driving it. Again, if Bawumia was driving it today, he should tell us what would he have done differently.
But he laid that out.
Go for oil. But go for oil is happening.
I mean, in that the economic policy speech where he says he's going to scrap the e-levy, he sort of laid out his own vision.
But our currency problem today is not e-levy.
And he also said, go for oil.
So his main issues are go for oil, and also the exchange program, the buy gold with buy dollar with gold or whatever the Bank of Ghana is supposed to do. I mean, today Bank of Ghana says they are doing that, but we know that is a drop in the ocean compared to the problem we have on our hands.
You need to fix the fundamentals.
Yes, we are heavily import dependent, and that has not changed much. That will be fixed with bigger, better 1B1F. But we claim to have done over 160 factories, and yet, tell me Ghana's top 10 imports and whether we have factories in those areas.
No, we don't. And
so that's where the difficulty really is.
The last question, I will go to Bawumia's own questions. This one was just a jab. Why has he run away from economy to digitalization?
so this one, how does he answer it? I think he's been trying.
Okay, so
his argument is that digitalization is part of the economy.
In fact, exactly my point. Bawumia has used many platforms to attack the MPPs, NDCs, their lack of understanding of digitalization, when it's linked with the economy. And so his point is, you cannot separate digitalization from the economy because it's central to it, right? So when you say he's run away, he says to you that, but then you become fundamentally misunderstands digitalization because it digitalizes the economy. Our economy is not digitalized, so, But the NPP, then this is point.
But the question remains. We are just talking exchange rate.
Yeah.
The indicators, for example, exchange rate, inflation, debt to GDP, growth rate, those ones. If you have done digitalization for 8 years, and yet this is where your exchange rate is. If you have done so, and this is where your inflation is, you get what I'm trying to say. But let's not get it wrong. In 2016, 15.4 was a terrible inflationary rate. Now we are happy to be in the 20s because we've gone to 54. I hope you get the point. So the question remains, if you have done 8 years of digitalization, what are the fruits of it? It should necessarily transform into the very things that impact cost of living. Because for most people, the receiving end of the economy is when they have lowered cost of living. If it does not reflect in those ends, it makes it difficult for people to see how tangibly that's supposed to be. I agree. We need to formalize our economy. I also agree our addressing system and also our identification system needs to be fixed. Check the developed countries. Some of these things, they fixed it at the bottom. But it is important that the urgent questions are also asked. And I'm coming back to this. I know people will insult me plenty on it. Maybe if we create a platform, the two could be asking themselves questions and answering the questions, it would have been nicer. Or is it not so?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they were like, I'm sitting directly opposite you, you throw the question, I answer. I also throw my question, I answer. It comes back to the debate, but really, it would have been a very interesting opportunity.
It reinforces the point that we need a debate.
Yeah.
Then you go to Bawumia's own questions, and you asked two of them before we start. When we started.
Yeah.
The second one is interesting. Why did you run advertisement against free SHS? We've seen the advert.
Yeah.
The advert is running on the networks. In essence, they've found JM's voice in which he is questioning the free SHS.
Do not buy into the whimsical promise of a desperate politician to introduce free SHS.
Quickly, the Bawumia camp, the JM camp, then also pays for airtime and produces an ad to emphasize the point that he is in support
of the free SHS.
And he's rather the candidate who wants to expand and extend
and make it better. Then they bring out flaws. They say, oh, you see, my child, I need more money to come and help my child because my child is unable to, the feeding is this, that. So they mention all of those things in the advert with the hope that they will say they will improve it. And then recently, the people told us, right, the grouping by the name Afro Barometer, they told us that you can't joke with free SHS in this republic.
At all.
In fact, they told us that it has maximum support for, because generally Ghanaians like free things. And if it's going to reduce the burden on them.
And we all like free things.
Yeah.
I'm still to give me free food. I'll eat. I'm hungry.
But they say there's no free lunch anywhere. Yes. So, in fairness, people like free things. So, it will get the kind of support that we are talking about. Essentially, and I believe that the MPP has succeeded in making free SHS a campaign issue for 2 elections. It's almost as if there's no fresh issue going into this election, and still at every point they brought it back to the front burner.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. I mean, we did the NPP's youth conversation this week, and then something struck me whilst I was having a conversation with the NPP guy on the show, that if you look at the significant number of 2 million young people who had registered to vote this year who turned 18.
Yeah.
When free SHS started, 2018, a lot of them, now it's 8 years now, it's been, let's say, 7 years since it started. A lot of them who are now 18 were what? They were 12 years, 11 years old, right?
They were in primary JHS.
So they lived it.
Senior high school.
Their parents obviously talked to them about how much it makes a difference, etc. The MPP still tapping so strong into that. The NDC is responding to it, and they want to take it further. But it's interesting that even the MPP that introduced it, they are careful in talking about expansion. They want to just sustain, consolidate, and as far as the controversial double track is concerned, they want to phase it out.
True.
Right? They want to deliberately pitch John Mahama as a guy who wants to kill it. And it's interesting how in politics, this is the propaganda theory. If you say one thing consistently enough, people begin to believe it. People begin to. So they started in 2020 by saying the Mahama says he will review, and when they say review, the Mahama says he will collapse it, he will scrap it. Do you remember?
Yeah, and at some point, even the executive president believed review meant cancel.
No, he didn't believe. It was deliberate.
And we are having this conversation in this country. And you see, when they're referencing, they never reference the Cali Bishops Conference call for review. They never reference the Nagat one. No. Those are irrelevant conversations. Why bring in third parties? It is only the NDC's call for review that was relevant in the conversation.
And the NDC,
but it appears the NDC has abandoned review.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because now they tell you, by review we meant we're going to increase it. So no, but hold on.
You don't even want to use the word review.
Yes, you have to review first
because
to see
the
flaws.
NPP has masterly turned that word review as it relates to free SHS into a very negative agenda to destroy free SHS.
Leaving some doubt in the minds of the people.
But that's very effective campaigning.
True.
No matter what it is, even if it's a positive, if you can spin it to make it sound negative, you've achieved the aim. And now you see that the NDC, when you listen to their ad, John Mahama is talking about improving the free
things
SHS
they will do
to make it better.
Like add private schools to it.
Yeah.
Like, make sure that they don't stop them off funds and resources. Like, make sure that they get everything that they want. So, hey, man, this conversation has moved on very quickly.
It's not a surprise that Bawumia makes it the second question. But this question that he's been asking JM for so long, can you name any broad-based social intervention policy that you implemented in Ghana as president?
First, they said social intervention. Then some of us were trying to explain that, no. Why are you making it look like social interventions are supposed to be only the big ticket ones? Then they revised it. That's why that word is there. Broad-based. So to them, you can't introduce LIPW, for example, as a broad-based one. But they expect to hear things like LEAP. They expect to hear things like what they call
National Health Insurance.
Yes, the indigent selection grouping within National Health Insurance. They expect to hear those kind of things. But those are big ticket things that government just don't spring up. You get my point?
Yeah.
So, but it's a very tricky question. So, for example, NDC couldn't have said that we collapsed healthcare, but it continued the NHIS, right?
Yeah.
It even did some expansion on it. It had some conversation about funding and all of that.
Yeah.
Can NDC today be said not to have had any at all? But the other problem here is that which ones have you introduced? It's not even which ones you continued or moved it.
Yeah.
This one boxes politicians into putting their name on projects.
But which is really why that's what politicians do.
Yeah.
They want to put their name on the project. So even if you've done something similar, they want to come and rehash it and
give it a fresh name.
Yeah,
especially if it's not gotten the kind of support and publicity that it's supposed to have previously.
But for me, as we close, I think it's been the most exciting last 2 weeks because of the back and forth.
True.
I think when you listen to the bites from the platforms and the sound bites are really good sound bites, because that is what campaigning is about. And this sort of brought the thing alive a bit. And
I'm excited still that they are staying with these matters.
Yeah.
That it's not about ethnicity, it's not about the things that we do not, it's not about who's drunkard or who's eating pork or those things.
Yeah.
I'm excited that we are staying on what you did, what I did, what I will do, what you will not do. I hope you get my point.
Yeah.
Bawumia sneaked in a couple of things when he was speaking to the youth. He said, some of you were probably very young. But let me tell you, in 2016, this is what was happening. Yeah, and it was not his main focus, but he sneaked in before talking about. So he needed to let you know that my opponent is not a new guy.
Yeah.
He's been around before. He's done things that maybe you forgot it because we are in charge now. And we are better than him.
So that those young people don't know themselves.
That's true.
They didn't live through it.
I think they might not have had the experience or understood it properly.
No.
That's very different.
They have blackouts every now and then.
Yeah.
They don't live through that themselves. And that's a difficulty. And that huge population of young voters, first-time voters, if you want to remind them about JM's presidency, they have absolutely no recollection. Because JM left in 2016. It's been 8 years since he left.
An 8-year-old voter would have been
10, 11, right?
Yeah.
They're about.
They are, it's not fresh on their minds. It's not. They didn't live through the experience of, let's say, leaving school. If you left school, you couldn't find jobs, you are struggling and all of that. Those are things that happen to you after 2021. So those people, it is fresh in their minds where governments are and what they do differently. That is why the pressure is on this government sometimes to show proof of delivery more than its predecessor, especially for that category of people. And those groups too, the research suggests that they are more interested in, making change. They are more interested in influencing elections. They have the idealism that Ghana can get better. Things can get. If you don't take care, those people are your downfall.
And they'll make a difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, enjoy the rest of your evening. We also watched.
Oh, we said we were
talking
going to touch on Parliament.
Oh,
the Senate is Senate die or day or
like the indefinite.
Yes, indefinite adjournment. So the people went to the Parliament without resources. We cleaned up a place nicely for them. They went to sit for a few minutes
and then left again.
With
nothing. Nothing has happened. Now there've been accusations and threats of citing a certain speaker for contempt. And I'm like, if you're citing a speaker for contempt for violating the Supreme Court, then you're talking about high crime.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've heard Afenyo accuse the speaker of supervising lawlessness and chaos in the House. Oh my goodness. And this is with 30 days to go exactly.
I'm not sure. I actually think that maybe somebody apart from, just like the way the Council of State and Co spoke to the speaker, I think they should put all three on the table, because you see, if you don't take care, elections make people mad.
Of course.
Intransigent positions can continue with this particular point to the end of the year. And again, see, you in government, you lose more.
Yeah.
You are conducting policy of state.
Yeah.
People expect you to deliver, not give them excuses.
Today on the excuse of emergency, right?
Yes.
But they haven't. There's nothing has happened. They've gone again. So now they have to go look for signatures again and force the guy.
And come back.
And then NDC side won't budge, because they will always go in early. And
they realize that going to sit there helps them, makes you look like you are petty. Where you sit is more important than the business you're conducting in this office.
So you won't come and do your business.
You don't come and do your business. So I mean, I'm not sure why they are still staying on this course, because I thought when they recall Parliament, they will change tactics.
But I think ultimately the strategy for the NPP, NDC, they will not admit it. They know it's 30 days to go. They want to make sure legislative business is crippled, that the government can't do anything until the elections.
But is that 100% positive or likely to have backlash too?
Against the NDC?
Yeah.
But I doubt very much that they will feel the heat. Remember, the implications of this, investor uncertainty. When there's investor uncertainty, currency will be affected. It has very dire implications for your economy.
Yes.
A budget is not being read. A lot of people who are looking at that to sort of see if your economy is going to be stable or not.
And we all remember when the e-levy budget issue,
that's really led to our eventual. That was a straw that broke our back. All that makes the life of the ordinary Ghanaian immeasurably more difficult, because you begin to feel it in your pocket, right? That is the anger that you want people to go into the polling booth with.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, so you see
last minute circumstances that make people more angry.
Of course.
I mean, of course, they might be angry in times past, but this is directly into the polls. I can tell you,
my friends, I have friends who are investors, foreign investors, who immediately the first fight happened in Parliament recently, and there was chaos around who is majority minority. First question they asked was, will this affect our business?
Yeah, yes, true. That's what a businessman wants.
Yeah, would it affect our business? And I said, I don't think so. But that uncertainty, the businessman looks at, I'd rather not move. So that money is going to come, that probably will come in, show up, your city won't come. But those who are already here with the money, also uncertain, they want to take their money out and wait. Everybody's going to sit on the fence. And when you're sitting on the fence at a time when you need people to put their money in, it's affecting inflation, affecting the economy, businesses aren't thriving, possible jobs you could have, a whole range of...
And even you, approval of monies for last minute engagements are important.
Yeah.
Because, Nkrumah said, seek ye first the political kingdom, and every other thing will be added to you. If you do not have what it takes to actually clear those areas, and you are not certainly declaring to people, because now there isn't budget for 2023. Without reading budget for 2023, all the things that say Bawumia want to do are not being captured in the budget for the first quarter.
Yeah.
Because that's really his budget.
Yeah.
You hear the point. So if it's not being captured, it sounds more like things are still hanging for you, or you are on your way out. Now I get your point on that. I think that increasingly, and I keep saying it, those elements that every political science student is taught, cooperation, consensus building, collaboration, those things, they are becoming difficult to enforce in our politics.
I spoke to Chairman Sabonsu. One of his comments that if he were still the majority leader, he would have consulted more broadly on the subject. That for me was telling, because and that question was directly about Afenyo, and I handled it, and he says consultation. He would have consulted more. He would have started. He said he would have started from the minute Haruna made that pronouncement in Tamale. He would have consulted for Haruna Affairs. He would have allowed this to get to the floor, right? And then he's still talking to Afenyo, trying to advise him, trying to get him to adopt a different course and see. So that you're so right.
And you can't be intransigent on this because you lose more. There are times
bottom line.
Yes, because this is not a big win. I mean, in all fairness, listen, this parliament, this 1 month old parliament, wherever you sit, might not be as important as which business you get done on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously want to.
And you still have the numbers on your side, not on their side, though.
There are judges now who can be confirmed. That has implications for
the Supreme Court. And they've been hanging for a while. Let's not get it wrong. They've been hanging for a while.
And for me, in this climate, and once the life of this parliament expires, it has to be renominated.
Really?
Of course.
Oh yeah, the first business.
Once the president sent a notification to the speaker and was read, it's now within the domain of parliament.
True.
And there's contaminants with the life of this parliament. So when the life of the parliament expires, it as if nothing came into parliament.
Yeah.
So whoever is the president next year, we have to now consider whether those two people merit being sent back.
But no, then it's problematic.
Absolutely,
it's extremely problematic. It's almost as if you are working against your own.
Yeah, it's finished. So, and I don't really see how they go through with the 30 days to go. It's not possible. And I honestly, genuinely don't see how Parliament sits meaningfully to do any meaningful business before the elections.
I think that if they talk more, I think if they all think of it this way, that it gives us a bad name. Generally, as politicians, we get a bad name for it. And they are more likely to move to the middle. And these are human beings you are dealing with. Yeah. They are partisan people, but human beings. If they also feel that they'll be affected, let's not get it wrong. What does the Acquah Barometer say about Parliament as a whole? Its trust has also gone down heavily. So if they are aware of some of these things, they will come to the middle. They may not get all business done, but some of the things I think they agree on. Yeah, in fact, for example, both sides agree on LI 2462 being repealed.
But that's another one. That's another consequence, effect of this constant indefinite adjournment.
True. And up to now, we don't have that particular one repealed. We are pretending that it's not working.
That is happening.
Yes, but But we fight. We were fighting all over. People were going on strike because of this thing. But it's been since God knows how long. Government was saying, "Oh, Parliament is not back. That's why I have not gotten it repealed." Parliament is back. We've been doing adjournment. The Senate died. Whatever died. Till this time, we have not removed that law that's allowing people to mine in our forest bodies and the reserves. More importantly. Something that everybody said was absolutely critical and non-negotiable.
So that's what we are as a country. Enjoy the rest of your evening.